Okay, so I'm a little bit in tears right now. I'm gonna do my best to try to share this thought with you. Ah, okay, so I'm actually, as you guys know, in my office there's a phone booth where it's quiet. So I just got a message from people who are like my family, and they're living in Ukraine, and they've been through a tough time, and I've talked to them throughout everything that's been going on, and they went on a trip. And one of the groups of this family, as I was there, you guys who've been with me for a while, you know about this. I sat with a family, it was a group of families. And we were talking, about remote work and how you can go anywhere. And yes, it's scary, but you have opportunities. And they sent me a message saying that one of the families that was there with us had moved away, and they finally were able to, they live remotely and they work remotely now. And it just, like, I literally went to tears instantly, because my brain went to, first of all, you never know how the advice and what you say to people can affect them. And you never know how far you can go if you can just get past the initial fear that you have of what can go wrong, what is possible to go wrong. And we tend to look at what could go wrong as always being the reason why we don't do something. And we often fail to realize that, why don't we ever look at what could go wrong with the side of the island that we're on? Like, if I go here, this all could go wrong. But what about if you stay where you are? What could go wrong? And seeing them and just so happy, and they're safe and they're able to make a living and to do that, it for me, like, it's the reason why I don't make money. I don't make money a priority for me. Like, money is important. Like, I'm able to do so much more when I have money than if I am struggling to feed myself. But it's never been the priority. Now, that can be wrong or right, or depends on your perspective. But for me, impact has always been a priority. And I realized, like, no matter how much money I made yesterday, it can't make me feel how I felt seeing my friends, people who are like my family, happy off of them just having the courage to do something that I kind of allowed them to see. I didn't do anything but just give them another perspective. And it reminds me of having that impact. You can't buy that. There's some things money cannot buy you. And, like, I'm shown it all the time, but I used to use that as an excuse to why I don't have the money that I want to have. And now I don't look at it like that. Now I still want to have more money. I still want to make a lot of money. It's why I run programs. It's why I ask you guys to contribute to my channel. It's why I do a lot of the deals that I do, is, yes, because I can have a bigger impact with that. But it's never like the priority. The priority has always been the impact. And I think if we can just shift our minds like that, and I was going to make a whole separate video on this, but maybe this is the moment. Maybe I think you need to hear this today. And I made a podcast about it, but the podcast didn't post, so maybe I'm supposed to tell you, is I want you to imagine something for a second. I know you're busy, maybe you're out, or you're, I don't know, maybe you're out, but just take a second. Like, just drop everything for a second, okay? I want you to imagine that you're given $10 million a day. Every day, 10 million US dollars is being put into your bank account. Now, I want you to imagine that that has happened for the last 6 months, and you haven't even used it. So for 6 months, you've been getting $10 million a day. It's been 6 months and you haven't used any of it. You've been busy. You've been doing other things. Now, I want you to imagine now all that money has been accumulating in an account for you. Now, I want you to imagine you still, after 6 months, you're still getting 10 million a day. It's not going to stop. Now, here's the question for you. with all that money you have and the money coming in every day, the question I have for you is, what problems do you still have? What problem are you still worried about? What still keeps you up at night? And the reason I'm saying that is because money is a tool. Money's great. It's not a money video. This is more of an impact video. But I want you to look at how the problem isn't always the money. That there's money solves money problems. Maybe you still don't wake up with the person who makes your heart just go crazy and get butterflies in your stomach. Maybe you still are overweight. Maybe you still don't like something about yourself. Maybe you still don't have the friends you want to have. And maybe even worse, you always felt like people are using you and just trying to get the most they can out of you. Do you feel it more now or you feel it less? And just think about that. So the question is, then what do you really want? What do you really want? You know, as my friend wrote me, and I looked at the picture, and they sent me a video. As I looked at the video, I just thought to myself of like that matters more than anything for them. They're free, they are out, they're together as a family, they're in another country, they're able to work, and they got over everything that they were scared of. This was 3 years ago that I had that conversation with them. 3 years ago. And all the stuff that they had to overcome to get to what they wanted. So let that be something for you to understand. There's things you're going to have to get over. Like, I don't have hundreds of millions of dollars. Like, I see people in the comments like, he's just traveling because he saved up. We all weren't lucky to be a pro athlete and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, you have no idea what you're talking about. You have no idea. I share 2% of my life on the internet. No idea. Unless you were a client of mine or you were in a group coaching program of mine, then you really have no idea. Because they know more about me than anybody, because they are when someone's in a paid container with me, they learn a lot more, and I go into depth and and I'm very open with them about things. How many struggles that I've had and how much it's taking courage and how much it's scary to bet on yourself. It's scary. It's scary. It's scary to make a big decision and know there's no net. You're climbing up this mountain to something you don't know, and you could fall and die. And because of that, some people never, ever, ever even attempted. The times that I've had to trust in myself that nothing, that no matter what happens, I got me, I'll take care of this. I'll figure it out. I'll get help. All those things. And you're exposed, I had to do it all on my own before. I was exposed. It's only recently after just really, I hate the word working on myself, but after recently just being honest with myself. Being wow, Luke, you could have been further. You could have been a different path. If you just ask for help. And if you don't ask him for help, can you see how that's going to hurt things in your future and how that's going to make other people feel like they have nothing to offer you and all that kind of stuff. You're taking away one of the things you love the most, which is giving. You're taking that away from someone else. It's courage. It's courage. And for me, every time, like, I think it brings me to tears every time. I've met some of you guys. I don't know if I've met, oh, I have, actually. I would say, I don't think I've been to a country and city yet where someone hasn't come up to me from YouTube. And there is people who have, here in Colombia. And my first thought is like, yes, you just had the courage to do it. You did it. Like, it's not like you do it and then now that's it. Like, one thing I've talked about lately, I've told you guys, is I stopped really trying to just be present where I am. Like, I know it goes really against what everyone says, but if I just, the present is now, and no matter what I do, the now is always going to be now. And as long as I don't think about the future or the past, I'm naturally going to be now. But I like living in anticipation. It's just I have found that it's such a more powerful tool for me. Like living in anticipation, like living in, like, when this might be the video that changes that one person's life. Like living in that anticipation instead of living just in the now of like, I'm putting the video out now and I'm going to enjoy it now. That's nice, but anticipation for me feels better. Like, this could be the one that gets somebody. This could be the one that changes that person's life. This could be the video that makes them finally realize that they can do it. Like, that for me is way more powerful now. Because the now is the shortest moment of our life. That keeps echoing in my mind since I've heard it. Now is always finished. Now is always done. Now is already gone. The second you say now, it's already gone. Just trying to always live in the now. It's very like tippy-toey. Like, you step and then it falls. Step and you fall and step and fall and step and then like it's like the bridge is breaking every time you step. Like, step. That's the now. The now is always falling. Now is gone. Oh, now is gone. Gone. Now is gone. And trying to live there and focus on there instead of the anticipation of. The anticipation of the next client. That's why I'm doing this. The anticipation of a wedding. The anticipation of the first child. The anticipation of the grandkids. The anticipation of the great-grandkids. The anticipation of, like, seeing them have kids. The anticipation of seeing them develop and grow. And that's just like something that pulls. And it pulls can never wear me out. I don't think it can ever wear you out. And I know this is just a little bit of a deep thought. This is usually for the podcast, but I just felt like getting that message today and seeing what this family did and what they're doing and how much now they can be the ones that inspire someone else. Because you can't lead someone where you won't go. Where you're unwilling to go, you can't lead someone. Like, if you're not willing to wake up early, how can you lead someone else to do it? Because there's things that's going to come up for them that you didn't experience and you've never actually done it, so you don't really know. You've just heard someone else's experience, which is way different. Because everything someone says is always an unfinished truth. It's always unfinished. Every sentence I say is never finished. I just decided to put a period on it. But there's always a completed thought. There's always something, when I tell you something, you don't hear what I say, you think of something different. If I say, wow, the biggest heartbreak I ever had, well, you think about your heartbreak you've ever had. I think about my mother and my father. You're thinking of your mother and your father. So as I just get this off my chest, and I hope that this is one of those videos, again, that just makes you just something click in your mind. Because all it takes sometimes is just a little bit of courage. And even though you might not like the now, and you might not agree with the Katie Byron loving what is, what if you just the anticipation of that business finally clicking, that customer finally coming, that person finally crossing paths with you? What if that became the reason you woke up every day? Because the anticipation of today might be that day. Today might be that day. And I found recently that living in that anticipation, that's what we crave. When I look at problems in the world, it's because there's nothing to anticipate. You know everything that's going on. You have nothing to anticipate anymore. I think about it for relationships. Like in group coaching, we're talking about relationships this month. And one of the things I think why people go with other people is because there's an anticipation of something might happen. It's not the actual act of something happening with someone else, but the anticipation of the playing around and doing this. And you're anticipating, because the now when it happens is already done. But the anticipation is what you lived in for the few months. The courting. That's anticipation, your anticipation of something. And then once the now happens where people live, now we are married, now we do have the kid, now we do have the family, now we do have the money, now we do have this, but now that's done, now what? Or I think people get the most unhappy because what they end up doing is they have nothing more to anticipate. They have nothing more to look forward to. Where I still think to this day, one of the greatest secrets that I've had, possibly could be one of the greatest secrets. I have to think about it, but the one that comes to my mind is I've always given myself something to look forward to. All the time. As a pro athlete for 12 years, I went out to party. I think twice. Like, I literally think there were 2 times after a game I did not go out to party. I think twice. I remember once we got back around 7 a.m. and the club had just closed. And another time, I think I was just too exhausted. Oh, no. I remember. I didn't have gas. I didn't have gas in my car, and all the gas stations were closed. And I knew I couldn't make it all the way to the club and back home. And it was late, too. It was around 5, so there only been 2 hours left. I played basketball in Europe, if you're new around here. But think about that. Like, it was like, no matter what happened in the game, good or bad, I was going to go out that night. And that anticipation is what I lived in. So I was very present in the basketball game. I didn't think about it anymore. But there's ever a time that I went into the past or I was worried about the future, I just knew there's something happening after this. So let's just enjoy this right now. And has kind of kept me chasing something and me being pulled to something. And at the same time, just relaxing and being present. Like, that's just been one, I don't know if it's like a secret that I've had, but it's just a powerful tool, that anticipation. And as I see people break through have the courage to go out, and now my friends in that were in Ukraine, like they're happy, they're in a safe place, they did it. And I know what it took to do it, to have that courage. Even though now courage looks a little bit different for me, I know what it was like at the beginning of, like, go to a new place, get a passport. One of my friends, they just got a passport. I'm so excited because that's how they were with them. And it's just like, that's something that money couldn't buy. But if I never had the courage for me to go there, I wouldn't have ever met them and been in this position to be able to tell them something or be able to make them think of something, just like they inspired me. So I don't know, this is a little rant, little thought, little mind vomit of inside my mind and heart and soul. And like I say, I love this YouTube journey of documenting. Like, I'm lost, I'm trying to figure it out, but I hope that throughout me being lost, that it helps you all to figure out something. So yeah, my coffee's empty. I'm gonna get a coffee. If you need to talk, drop me an email. You have something going on, write me. I love hearing from you guys and being able to serve you all and to give you a different perspective is something that I've learned to love and live for. Views come and go, people come and go, haters come and go, friends come and go. And I think that being able to make an impact and worrying about what we can control is one of the most powerful things. So on that note, I'll see you guys in the next video. Take care.